It is December 2nd, 2020. We are on the rooftop of the property at 1633 Thomas Avenue in San Diego, California, 92109. Behind the house, we have a 3-unit building, and the sewer line runs from the house across the deck patio area here under that building to the alleyway. So we're going to start here from the 2-inch plastic ABS vent pipe for this hall bathroom for this front house. This was not originally plastic. It was upgraded at some time and redone. We can see from the crawl space there's a T-junction that picks up the other fixtures in the bathroom. We can see from the crawl space that some of the initial piping was also 3-inch ABS plastic that's just barely above the dirt line, and then it goes into the dirt. So here we're making our transition right here into the horizontal pipe. We have a cleaning crew inside the house right now, and they are running water, so we'll have to ask them to stop running that here shortly so that we can get a complete visual and everything doesn't block the camera here. But this might be some residual for right now, but we're going to continue to push. Oh, there they go. They just, looks like they're flushing that toilet there. Okay, we're going to pause the video for 1 second. Okay, so we've asked the crews inside the house that are working to not run water, so what you're seeing right there is just that little bit of residual from the toilet tank and bowl refilling. So we're going to go by this T-junction here. So you can see this is plastic here. And it appears we go back into the original cast iron. So got more water running there. So I apologize. I thought they were going to stop using, but they're not. We'll continue down the line here. We'll have to pull back. Now we got some standing water there, but that might be from what's running through the system here. Yeah, they're still running water here. Let me pause for 1 more second. Okay, so we had to shut the house water off. So basically what's going on is the hall bathroom toilet for this front house we're inspecting here. The toilet is broken, fill valve, and is running non-stop all the time. So that's why that huge volume of water was running through the system. So we had to shut the whole main piping down because the shutoff valve in the front appears to be for all the units. They're not separated. So anyway, we're going to continue down the line here again. So we're leaving the plastic, and now we're going into the original cast iron pipe because, again, this is near the back of the house, so it's leaving under the deck area, patio. Now you can see there's some standing water in the pipe. There's not supposed to be any standing water in the pipe. All the slope is supposed to have a 1/4 inch of slope downhill per every foot it travels. But sometimes it's not so much that the pipe has been put in improperly. It's that there might be some debris or some connection point that was misaligned coming up here. So we'll continue down this and see why this pocket of water is being held here. Could be to some buildup or some debris or a partial stoppage. And so yeah, you can see right here, you can actually see that looks like a bunch of eggshells right there, but in front of it is a bunch of black gunk and heavy buildup. And then we're riding our camera through it, up and across right here, you can see, and we came out of that. So now we've got another little pocket and pooling of water right here and all this standing water. Now our camera has a built-in incline meter that shows the degree and pitch that the camera is sitting in the pipe. It's always supposed to be about -2 degrees. Right now, we're going up and over these little undulations, and it's partially positive for most of the way here, as seen on the bottom left of the screen. So that's why we're seeing that heavy buildup, because things aren't flowing down the pipe properly. Now, it'd be very difficult to recorrect all this pipe because your starting and ending point are where they're at already. So this line over time might just need to be hydrojetted to clean all this nasty debris out. You can see we shouldn't see all this standing water. That's going to lead to buildup, going to lead to stoppages, and it's also going to lead to the faster deterioration of the cast iron pipe since the water is not draining out and it's always staying in there. It's going to rust and corrode out the pipe a lot faster. So here's a T-junction right here we have. So I don't know, at the distance we're at here, only about 29 feet. This might be another junction from the other bathroom. We're going to run another camera from there. The house is kind of a small L-shaped, may have been an addition that was put on. So the other bathroom probably junctions into that T right there. We don't know for sure, but we'll be running a second camera from the other bathroom while we leave this one in place to verify that. So we're now going to continue down this line though right now. This is still original cast iron pipe. So again, there's a fair amount of buildup and scale we saw previous to this. There's still a little bit here. It's not really too bad right now. A little bit of mounding on the left and right hand side, as you can see right there. A little bit of debris kind of all over the place here, and some more coming up right there. So a lot of pockets and pools of water from all these little chunks and debris that we're trying to pass through here on this original cast iron. So we'll see if this eventually transitions over to plastic for the back 3 units. Again, we did not see any cleanouts. We'll double check across the patio one more time, but we didn't notice any. And you may need to add a clean out here to clean and hydrojet this out more efficiently than the 2-inch roof vent. You can't use as large of both cables, cutters, jetters, and jetter nozzles when you're going into a small 2-inch pipe trying to clean a 3 and a 4-inch pipe. Again, some more mounds of debris right here, all holding all that water and debris. Okay, we have a T-junction right there. That might be possibly an old clean out access point, or again it could just be a T-junction, since we're now almost 50 feet out of some of the first fixtures for the back building that it connects into. So we are transitioning now into plastic, so that T right there might be an old buried clean out T, possibly near where the laundry closet is and the water heater closet for the back building. We're now going into newer plastic ABS pipe. You can see some T-junctions right there. So this is picking up all that first unit here on the lower level. And then the upstairs units will also eventually T into there. So right here you can see our camera is basically also in another area that's holding water. Our camera incline meter is showing just basically level right here. We'll see if this goes more positive at some point, or if there's some debris. Now there's some debris right there, so that could be what's damming and holding that up. Okay, it looks like we're going back to cast iron. So yeah, that's that big debris right there in the system. So they changed out some of that line for part of the redo, but not all of it. So now we go back into original cast iron again. So we've got this big little wall of debris and all this standing water again that's also not draining out. So some cleanouts really need to be installed to be able to maintain this line, because at this point, with all the buildup we're seeing and all these pockets of water that are being held and not draining out, there's no way to effectively and efficiently clean this from this small 2-inch vent, and some plumbing companies, or majority, won't go on rooftops anymore. So we'll again double check to see if there's any 2-way access points, but it really should be installed at the beginning of the line. So in the crawl space of this front house, could be teed in there and brought out, or the concrete patio deck area, if there is no cleanouts there, which again we'll double check, they'll need to be installed there. It's our recommendation at this point. Again, more standing water in the cast iron with little mounds of debris and little undulations going up and down, as you can see all over the place here. All this heavy buildup and scale of deposits, they're all mounded inside the cast iron. So a company can hydrojet sometimes and scrape and clean all that off and then push it out to the city. And we do know from walking the perimeter of the property, the only clean out we found for the main sewer was off the alleyway that the city put in that services their pipes from the property line of the alleyway a few feet out to the city pipe in the middle of the alleyway, but does not allow access into any of these pipes. So again, you can see all this heavy buildup and then all this areas of water that just aren't draining out because of all of that. So hopefully during the hydrojetting process, it will remove a majority of this, won't cause any damage to the pipe, and then all these little pockets and pools of standing water, which are going to also again hold up debris over time and cause more buildup to accumulate, will be cleaned out during that process. So just a lot of accumulated buildup, and then here we have another transition back into ABS. So my guess is that for another part of the units that was installed and put in, they teed in for this part here, but they didn't, again, put in for all the building. So this is now all ABS plastic again, so we've got to transition again. Here's another T-junction where some of the fixtures for the units are all dumping in. This was all replaced here on this farther out run for these other units. This is all plastic. It's not holding any water, so that's good. Another T-junction right there. Another T-junction there with a little turn on the system. Here we have another turn coming up. And we're back into what appears to be cast iron and possibly the original property line clean out. You can see all these roach water bugs here. It does appear on the bottom left of the screen we may have some buildup there. I don't know if that's roots or some object or foreign debris. You can see on the left side of the screen there. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video for 1 second to run some water because we're at 100 feet and it's getting difficult to push through here, but we need to verify what this debris is on the system. So we're going to pause and run some water. Okay, we have all the water running in the front house and both bathrooms, so we're going to have water coming by in a few seconds here. This will help us get the camera by. We're probably going to lose our image, but that's fine. We're just trying to go ahead and get this cleared past this point, and then we'll pull back and reverse. So because this spot with this buildup is also on a turn right here, we may not be able to see for sure. Now here's our water running. We're going to continue to push, and yes, you can see the PVC green plastic, so that was our last junction right before we get to the city line itself. So there's the dump into the city pipe itself. So now we are going to go ahead and pause again and shut all the water off. Okay, so we shut the water off. We are going to have some residual for a minute or so here, so we're going to go ahead and just start to pull back on the system here to show some of this, because this is with the city pipe right there. Get a little bit of clay. Here's the new Greenbelt PVC pipe that the city put in the alleyway. And so the white T-junction we're passing under right here, the pipe is now white in color. That is the property line clean out for this property that's in the alleyway. So what's that allows you to do is from this point right here go forward and out, which is rare you need to do that, but the city always puts it in when they redo their piping. And so basically we're just going to continue to push out while this water is still trying to drain out of the system right here. So again, you can see here's the dump, the big T-junction right there. This is the end of the lateral for this house. So from the front house roof vent, we're a little over 110 feet out. And so all the other water coming up downstream and upstream at this T-junction are the other neighboring properties. So should be starting to finally slow water here. Now we do have back 3 units here, so those people might be using water as well. I don't think they were given or told that the water might need to be stopped using, but looks like it is slowing down for the most part. So there's our transition from the clay back into this Greenbelt PVC pipe. There's our white T-junction right there. See that off to the left? That's the clean outlet that's in the alleyway. We back up here and then we go back into the original cast iron right here. So there's a boot right there, and you can see on the upper right of the screen there that little cockroach bug. Trying to just see if he's going to want to crawl into there. We want to make sure that it's banded together. They use a rubber boot to connect these two. We can see that there's a little possible chip out of the pipe right there on the top right, where the pipe from maybe the cutting process wasn't real clean. We can see the black rubber boot in between the two pieces of pipe right there. As we look on the top of the screen, it looks like there's just one little pocket where it might be a little opened up. Now that should be still covered by the rubber boot. We're going to try to scare those bugs and see if they move or go in or out. Yeah, so the top of the pipe right there may have a little opening. It's really hard to tell, obviously, to see if it's anything serious. It doesn't look like it. The alignment overall is good. But a lot of times when there's an open cavity like that, that's where the bugs all want to live in. But it looks like it's still connected cleanly. So we're now going to back up here on this original pipe. You can see all the bugs that are there. And as we make that turn right here, got that little bit of water coming through the system here. Go back across here and see if we... This is where that debris is on the right-hand side, bottom of the pipe, but it's right at the turn right here. So we really can't tell, even as we go forward or back up, if that happens to be some small roots somehow intruding or just some other scale and buildup. So again, that would be cleaned up during the hydrogening process, so we definitely recommend that needs to be done here. So we're now going to back up on the system here and relook at all of this. We're going to pull back across until we get to about the 40-foot mark or so, because we have to look at the other bathroom for this front house that comes across. So this is all the third section of plastic. We have one small section under the house, then another section in the front of the building, then this section. And we've got all different cast iron transitions in between. So coming back across here, we've seen all this already. We're just leaving the camera rolling. So we're going back into the original cast iron again. So again, this is that other middle transition. We've got all those pockets and pools of water that are just kind of staying there. And again, that's why we recommend the hydrogening and cleaning of this. All that stuff is just staying in there. We do not have any water running at this time. Here's the transition back to ABS. Now, there's the T-junction right there. Now, still in plastic. Coming out of that, and then back to cast iron again. So we're going to leave our camera right here. We're now going to go ahead and pause the video. We're going to put a second camera in from the master bathroom of the front house here to see where it junctions in and make sure there's no problems with that portion of the system. Okay, so we're now here on the rooftop over above the master bathroom here. We have our 2-inch vent. We'll see if it's a straight shot or has some turns on it. That might sometimes prevent the camera from getting through the system. In fact, yes, here's a 90 right here. We've got a bunch of cobwebs and debris in there. There's a second 90 there. We are able to, so far, still get through the system, but it's not a guarantee we'll be able to get all the way, and that's what happens when, unfortunately, the venting is not as straight up and down. Looks like we're trying to make that final drop and turn, but it's just not going to happen right here. There's too many sweeps and turns on the system from this toilet vent access point, which is the largest vent. So we do have 2 other 1.5-inch vents for the bathroom here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is go ahead and try to access that. We also do have an 1.5 or 2-inch clean out on the side of the house. We'll see if that allows us to get into the system here. Okay, so we have our other 2 vents right here on the rooftop. We're going to go ahead and give this a try. Again, we do have a clean out on the side of the property. This is the only one for the house. So that should lead off here. Okay, here's a 2-inch junction right there. That could be the clean out that we see on the side of the house. We are now going downward, and it looks like we're going into the system for this portion of the house right here. Here's the dump into the sewer pipe. Looks like Got another turn on the line. Okay, and there we go. Now we're back into original cast iron. So we do know that that other T-junction we saw out at about, I believe it was 40 feet out, was cast iron. So it makes sense that this is cast iron here for this master bathroom as well. So they replaced just some of it in the crawl space, but didn't cut any of the slab as it leaves the property. It heads across this patio to junction together and then head out. A little bit of buildup on the left-hand side of the pipe right there, but it's negligible, not a concern. So this cast iron, as you can see, does not have all that mounding and scale and deposits forming all over. We don't have those big pockets and pools of water hanging out. So that's good. That's what we want to see. So the other pipe, once it's hydrojetted, should look more like this. So eventually here in a few feet we should run into the turn and the T-junction where this line will become one with the other piping. Okay, here you go. Here's our turn on the system, and there you go. There's our other orange-red push rod from the first camera that we left sitting in the system. So this is in fact where they come together and T-branch together. So this line for this master bathroom is in good condition, no issues, unlike the front one that has all that buildup and retaining sewage and debris in the bottom and the walls of the pipe. So we're now going to go ahead and pause. We're going to move back to the first camera just so we can go ahead and locate the path of the pipe in between the front house and the back 3 units, so we can mark that for the location of the possible installation of cleanouts that we are going to recommend possibly be done in the future. Okay, so we've hooked up our other camera and the original one, and we've pulled back here to where the cast iron right here has this vertical T, which appears to be a clean out, which in fact it is, but it's not been brought to surface. We've located this, and it's actually under the washer dryer units in the closet on the back building. So this transition to ABS here is the very beginning of the back building, but this clean out T right there is not exposed. We checked under the machines, it's not there. So now what we're going to do is pull back across all of this here, and basically we're going to just pull back to the edge of the back of the house, and we're just going to go ahead and mark that. Now again, you can see it's a straight line across from here, and you can see from the crawl space entry the little bit of plastic that they put in under the house. And then again, it goes right back to this cast iron that's full of all this buildup and standing water throughout. So we're just pulling back here, showing this one more time because we're going to go ahead and mark it. Now we're back into the plastic. So now here's where the cast iron is starting, probably right at the foundation wall essentially. So we're going to leave our camera right here in this little lake pool of water. This should be just outside the back of the house. We're just going to mark this with some chalk to denote, and this is where you'd want to install some two-way cleanouts to be able to clean up the current condition of the line and to be able to maintain it. Okay, so the few feet we pushed forward here into the cast iron, we thought by now we'd be outside the foundation wall, but in fact we're not. We're still under the house. So it looks like they replaced the bare minimum under the house from that hall bathroom as it heads to the back area here. So we actually have to push a few more feet forward again to actually get to the point where we can just show the exact depth and spot of this pipe. So we'll leave it right here. We're now going to go ahead and pause again. Okay, so we've gone ahead and marked with some chalk a line with an arrow, and the depth was just 15 inches deep. So from the top of the concrete to the bottom of this cast iron pipe is only 15 inches deep. So we've got that marked in the back. And again, from the crawl space, you can see the pipe going into the dirt, and it's a straight line from there headed across to the back building. But we did make that marking just in case for any current owner or future owners. So that's our recommendation at this point. So you can see our camera's got some of that debris on there from passing through all that gunk, but we're back into the plastic here. And now we're coming back up the vertical vent right here. So we'll show this really quick, just pulling out quickly through the vertical vent pipe. We're now back out the rooftop here. So again, here's our vent. And in the crawl space, the pipe is directly below here, and it goes straight across. You can see the 2 white doors right there for the laundry. It is literally a straight line from here across to there to then enter the building. But again, we have all these pockets of cast iron on this line that need to be cleaned up, and the cleanouts need to be installed to be able to do that. So that concludes the recording for this property.